Hi, this is now lesson 2 of simultaneous equations. Today we will be looking at solving simultaneous equations by graph. So again, if you pause the video for a minute or two and have a go at these starter questions, please. Okay, let's look at question 1. So we have if a equals 5, b equals 3 and c equals -2, find the value of 2a plus c. So we need to remember to use our BODMAS. So we end up with 2 times 5 plus -2. So 2 5s are 10. But remember, a positive and a negative just become a negative. So we end up with 10 take away 2, which is 8. For b, we have 5c add 2b. So that's 5 times -2 this time, add 2 times 3. So 5 times -2 is -10. 2 times 3 is 6. So -10 add 6 is -4. For c, we have 3b take away 5c. So that's 3 times 3, subtract 5 times -2. 3 times 3 gives us 9, and the double negative gives us +10. So we end up with 9 add 10, so our answer here is 19. For question 2, we're asked to solve two equations. Remember, our method is change the side, change the sign. So for a, 4a plus 5 equals 29. Take the plus 5 over, it becomes subtract 5, so 4a is equal to 24. Divide by 4 to get a equals 6. For b, 7c plus 31 equals 10. Take the plus 31 over, to becomes subtract 31, so 7c is equal to -21, and divide by 7 to get c equals -3. Okay, so on to today's lesson, and today we're going to be looking at finding the point of intersection of a pair of lines graphically, so by graph. By the end of the lesson, we should be able to accurately draw the graphs of each line using 2 points and identify the point of intersection from the graph. So firstly, please make sure you copy these notes into your notes jotters and the following examples as well, please. So some definitions to start with. Simultaneous means at the same time. Point of intersection is the coordinate point where two lines meet. The point of intersection is also called the solution of the pair of equations, or the solution of the pair of lines. The process of finding the point of intersection, or the solution, is called simultaneous equations. There are two approaches for this, graphically and algebraically. So the first approach we're going to look at is the graphical method. So to solve simultaneous equations graphically, we find the points on the x and the y-axis for each line. We accurately draw both lines on the same diagram, and then we identify the point of intersection, or the solution as it's called, from the graph. So for example, we are being asked to solve graphically x minus 2y equals 4 and x plus y equals 1. So we need to find the pair of points for each line. So let's begin with line x minus 2y equals 4. So at x equals 0, the equation becomes 0 subtract 2y equals 4. Simplified, this is just -2y equals 4. And then we divide to get y equals -2. So when the x coordinate is 0, the y coordinate is -2. We do the same but when y equals 0. So the equation becomes x subtract 2 times 0 equals 4. This simplifies just to x equals 4. So when x is equal to 4, the y coordinate is 0. So we have the pair of points for line x minus 2y equals 4. We do the same thing for line x plus y equal to 1. So at the point when x equals 0, the equation becomes just 0 plus y equals 1, and this simplifies to y equals 1. So the coordinate is, the x coordinate is 0, the y coordinate is 1. At the point y equal to 0, the equation becomes x plus 0 equals 1, and simplified this is just x equals 1. So the second point on that line is 1, 0. The x coordinate first, remember, the y coordinate second. So our next step is to draw the coordinate grid, plot and draw both lines, and then identify the point of intersection. So if we look at the next slide. So we have the coordinate points 0, -2 and 4, 0. If we plot these and draw the line through them, label your line, remember. We have the coordinate points 0, 1 and 1, 0. So 0, 1, 1, 0. Draw the line through, label the line. Now all we need to do is actually just look at the graph and identify the coordinate point where both lines meet, and we can see that that coordinate point is at 2, -1. So the solution of this graph is 2, -1. What you should always do is double check that your solution makes sense for the lines that you've got. So to check, we substitute the values of the coordinate, so x equal to 2 and y equal to -1, into the equation of each line. So we start off with the left-hand side. So replace the x coordinate with 2 and the y coordinate with -1. This becomes 2 plus 2, which is 4. And if we check the right-hand side of the equation, this equals the right-hand side. So we know that that point is correct. We could have done that with the other line, x plus y equals 1 instead. So again, check the solution, 2 -1, in the line x plus y equals 1. So the left-hand side of the equation of the line would become 2 plus -1, which is 2 subtract 1, which is just equal to 1. And if we check the right-hand side of the equation of the line, it's equal to the right-hand side, so we know we've done that correctly. Let's look at a second example just to make sure that you're understanding this. So this time, if 2x plus y equals -2 and 3y -4 equals 24, find the solution of the pair of equations graphically. So just notice that that has been worded in a slightly different way, but it means exactly the same thing. So we take the first line, 2x plus y equals -2. We work out what the coordinate is when x equals 0. So subbing in 0, we get 2 times 0 plus y equals -2, and that just simplifies to y equals -2. So we have that coordinate point, 0, -2. When y equals 0, the equation becomes 2x plus 0 equals -2, simplified to 2x equals -2, so therefore x equals -1, and we have the point -1, 0. For the second line, 3y minus 4x equals 24, we do exactly the same thing again. So at x equals 0, the equation becomes 3y, take away 4 times nothing, equals 24. This simplifies to 3y equals 24, so y must equal 8. So the coordinate point is 0, 8. Remember, x coordinate first, y coordinate second. At y equals 0, this becomes 3 times nothing, subtract 4x equals 24. So this just simplifies to minus 4x equals 24. So dividing, we get x equals -6. So our coordinate point here is x coordinate of -6, y coordinate of 0. So again, draw the coordinate grid, plot and draw both lines, identify the points of intersection. So 0, 8 and -6, 0. So plot the points, draw the line, label the line. 0, -2 and -1, 0. Plot the points, draw the line, label the line, and then all we need to do is look at where the two lines meet, and we can see that that is at the coordinate point of -3, 4. So the solution graphically of the pair of equations is minus 3, 4. Again, our double check. So double check point minus 3, 4 in the line 3y minus 4x equals 24. So the left-hand side becomes 3 times 4, subtract 4 times negative 3. So that's 12 plus 12, which is 24, and that equals the right-hand side. Or check the point minus 3, 4 in the line 2x plus y equals minus 2. So the left-hand side becomes 2 times minus 3, add 4, which is negative 6, add 4, which is equal to negative 2. And that equals the right-hand side of that equation. So we know we've done this correctly. One last point to go over. When you were doing lesson 1, you may have found that in lesson 1 question 3J that both points that you found turned out to be the origin. So we need a second point to draw a line. So if this occurs, we need to take another value for x. And to make things easier, if we take a multiple of the y term, this will give whole number coordinates. So, for example, if we did the normal working for the line 2y equals 3x, we would get 2y equals 3 times nothing. So simplified 2y equals nothing, so y would equal nothing. So the coordinate point would be 0, 0. At the point y equals 0, the working would become 2 nothings equals 3x. Simplified 3x equals 0, so x equals 0. So again, we would get the origin, but we need 2 points on the line. So instead, what we can do is still take x equal to 0 as one of the points. So that will still give us the origin as our first point, but alternatively, take another value for x. So because we have a 2y term in the equation, if we take multiples of 2, that will give us whole number coordinates. So we could take 2, 4, 6, 8, or so on for x. The easiest one to take is x equal to 2. So our equation would become 2y equals 3 times 2. Simplified, that's 2y equals 6. And if we divide, we get y equals 3. So when the x coordinate is 2, the y coordinate is 3. And that would give us our second coordinate point to plot. Okay, now it's your turn to have a go. So go to posts or files on the team to get today's exercise and answers. Please make sure you complete all your questions into your class jotter, showing all your working and using a ruler for drawing your coordinate grids and drawing your lines. Once you've finished, please check and correct your work at the end. Thank you.